You may begin when you're ready, Senator.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee, member of the committee. For the record, my name is Rusty Black, and I represent the 12th Senatorial District. Senate Bill 1113 deals with our state pension funds, specifically their fiduciary responsibilities, and what is the best economic interest and long-term economic value of plan participants. The first part of this bill is through the investment avenue. Senate Bill 1113 would ensure that investments are being made for the best financial interest of the members of the system and not environmental, social, governance characteristics, ESG as we commonly refer to it. The second is through the voting of proxies and would ensure proxy votes are conducted in a way to ensure the best rate of return for members, not to push some policy or ideological agenda. This is not a prohibition on any type of investment. Instead, Senate Bill 1113 would require the economic interest of plan participants above any other ideas on investing. Many pension systems maintain their own board of government policies that are similar to Senate Bill 1113. With that, I want to add one thing on Matt's script. I serve on the Mosher's pension board as a trustee. This has been something that I believe is about 3 years ago that we really started looking into, making decisions and coming up with policy. And this mirrors fairly close to the policy that we decided to pursue within that group. And again, before you start asking any questions, make sure you understand that it is the financial interest is the number one thing, not where that is invested, but the financial interest, trying to get the highest rate of return. Thank you, and with that, I'd answer any questions, but there are much greater experts behind me as well.
Okay, any questions from the committee for the bill handler? Seeing none, first in support. State your name, fill out a witness form, please.
Good afternoon. Abby Spieler, Executive Director, Missouri State Employees Retirement System, here to go on record in support. We thank the bill sponsor for bringing this bill. As he mentioned, this bill codifies Mosher's current policies with respect to investment on ESG and proxy voting, in that we invest for the best interest of our membership.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you. Next in support.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, for the record, Mike Moorfield, Chief Counsel, PSRS Peers, here as well to testify in support. 2 quick points. For over 20 years, PSRS Peers has had an explicit prohibition on social impact investing. Each year, the board reviews and approves a policy that prohibits social impact investing. Therefore, our investment is only for the members' benefit, only to ensure our assumed rate of return within prudent risk variables. As that applies with ESG, we also specifically prohibit ESG investment through both our fund and our fund managers. In terms of the proxy voting policy, same. Our proxy voting policy is to maximize and preserve the long-term economic value of the fund. We vote our own proxies, and we do that in accordance to ensure that we are making sure that we maximize our long-term economic value. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions and really appreciate the sponsor's time.
Any questions for the witness? Thank you. Next in support.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, for the record, Elizabeth Altoff with the Missouri Local Government Employees Retirement System. I just reiterate what my previous colleague said. Our board as well maintains their own internal policies. We seek the best risk-adjusted return for our members, and so for those reasons, and those have been already articulated, we also are in support of this. We appreciate the senators.
Are there questions for the witness? Seeing none, next in support. Okay, we will now go to opposition. First in opposition, state your name, fill out a witness form, please.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Michael Berg. I'm here representing the Sierra Club Missouri chapter. We oppose Senate Bill 1113 as every aspect of it. There's three main parts. We oppose all of it. The idea of prohibiting environmental social governance criteria for pensions and prohibiting ideological criteria for proxy voting. We look at the definition of environmental social governance characteristics, and we see this as kind of a vague definition that would be open to interpretations and would be open to interpretations of courts and politicians in charge. And it would narrow options available for pension managers and could scare away good financial managers, especially commingled investment vehicles. And this is not just my ideas. This is spelled out by several organizations in the fiscal note of the bills. There are apprehensions about this bill from the Sheriff's Retirement System, the Employees Retirement System of the City of St. Louis, Marquette Associates, which is our experts in managing public pensions, as well as the Metro St. Louis Sewer District Employee Pension Plan. And so just give example how this can happen. Like it's, we already have good fiduciary duty rules on the book. But for example, if you were managing a fund and you determined, looking at the future, just want to remind everybody it was 80 degrees yesterday where I was in St. Louis, and now it's went down in the 20s. We have more extreme weather events. We have climate change is real, and it will affect how we invest our energy sector and other investments based on what is happening with our changing climate. So if investment managers, there's different interpretation of what is the best fiduciary duty, what should be done to invest for this changing situation. Someone determines long-term that, they should be pulling out a certain energy sector, reacting to possible floods in places. Someone could interpret that and saying, no, you were putting in environmental criteria. This would be open to this kind of interpretation. So it would chill the ability and willingness to make the necessary adjustments to investment strategy. It could also scare away potential managers who operate. They might decide it's easier to go to other states because there's not this potential liability for having to work in Missouri. So this could harm the people relying on these pension funds, their direct needs for the pension funds. And also wanted to point out that it is common to put environmental social governance plans in legislation affecting both state contracts and also potentially pensions in the law books. There's a bill pending that was heard in the Pensions Committee in the House to ban pensions from investing in foreign adversaries. And I don't have any comments whether that's a good or bad, but it is definitely an environmental socialist governance criteria. And it's actually, there's environmental socialist governance criteria in section 105.688, which is the section of the law that this wants to change. In section 5, it said the state should give appropriate consideration to investments which would enhance the general welfare of the state and its citizens, if those investments offer the safety and rate of return compatible with other investments available to invest fiduciary at the time of the investment decision made. And this would put, right after section 5, number 6, the state should not consider environmental, social, or governance characteristics in a manner that would override his or her fiduciary duty as described in the section. I can't think of decisions that would be made which would enhance the general welfare of the state, which would not be under the rubric of social, environmental, or governance. So we see this as contradictory, and it makes us think, like, why should this be happening? The pensions come from the money earned by working people, and there's a good board structure to make these determinations. If the board, including representation from the members who put in the money in the pension, make some determinations that maybe they don't want to invest in things that could undermine their basic profession. The profession might be undermined by certain AI investments, or certain educational unions might be undermined by investing in certain companies. they should be allowed to make those determinations, within already existing fiduciary duties. And so this is really an attack on the ability of workers to control their own money. And wanted to also point out that these kind of bills are not popular. There's a recent poll by Unlocking America's Future that showed that 63% of voters oppose bans on this kind of responsible investing and having these criteria. They're worried that it will negatively impact the economy, could negatively impact the climate, and they're worried that there are small elite interests that are pushing these kind of things, and they'd rather have more broad control over pensions and investments to make determinations about what is and is not invested in for the future. So we don't see this as necessary to protect pensioners, and it could very easily undermine pensioners and undermine important goals of the state, such as those laid out in Section 5 of 105.688. Thank you.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you. Next in opposition? Seeing none, informational purposes only.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Scott Simon with the MoDOT and Patrol Employees Retirement System. Our board has not taken a position on this particular bill, but I can testify before you today and let you know that this does codify the policies of this board that have been in place for nearly 20 years. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you. Senator, do you have any closing comments?
Matt, I know you didn't want me to do that, but we're used to doing that when I asked to call roll. Please call roll.
Senators Black,
Here.
Gannon,
Here.
Bratton, Eigel, McCreary, Roberts, Schroer. You have a quorum.
We have a quorum. I move that we go into executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I move that we bring up Senate Bill 1286. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Oh, hearing aid on that side wasn't working, huh? Senate Bill 1286, we heard last week, would modify salary limitations on working after retirement for PSRS peers members. That was a bill brought to us by Senator Bernskoetter. I move that we do pass Senate Bill 1286. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Matt, please call the roll.
Senators Black,
Aye.
Gannon,
Aye.
Bratton, Eigel, McCreary,
Yes.
Roberts, Schroer.
By a vote of 4-0, Senate Bill 1286 has been voted do pass. I move that we bring up Senate Bill 1267. Do I have a second? I have a second. Senate Bill 1267, we also heard last week, would modify the definition of earnable compensation for the police retirement system of St. Louis. This was Senator Schroer's bill. I move that we do pass Senate Bill 1267. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. Matt, please call the roll.
Senators Black,
Aye.
Gannon,
Aye.
Bratton, Eigel, McCreary, Roberts, Schroer.
By your vote of 4-0, Senate Bill 1267 has been voted do pass. I move that we exit executive session and adjourn. Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.